Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between super keyword and this keyword in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. So, in Java programming, there are several keywords. Out of them, super keyword is one of the keyword and this keyword is another keyword or another predefined keyword in Java programming. There is a common thing between the super keyword and this keyword, guys. That is this keyword and the super keyword. What is that common thing between this keyword and super keyword? They refer to the object of a class. This keyword will refer to the object of the class, whereas super keyword will also refer to the object of a class. But what is the difference? The difference is that while this keyword refers to the object of the current class in which it is specified, whereas super keyword will refer to the object of the parent class. Okay. Super keyword will refer to the object of the parent class, whereas this keyword will refer to the object of the current class in which it is specified. Whereas super keyword will refer to the parent of the parent object of the parent of the current class. Okay. Parent class. It will simply refer to the parent class. Okay, that's what is the exact straightforward answer for this question, guys. But we have to learn something. We have to know how to use it and where to use it and all. All these things I'm going to explain, guys. All these examples and all. Okay. So there are few things that you need to understand about this using this keyword for referring to the current class object, whereas using the super keyword to refer to the parent class object. Okay, I'll explain all this stuff. There are some examples, guys. Okay. There are some examples I'm going to give you one by one. First one is like this keyword I will use to refer to the current object, and this can be used to distinguish the variable names. Okay, this can be used to general main purpose that I have seen people using this keyword in the Java programming is that they can be used for distinguishing the ambiguity between the variable names. If the class variable names and the method parameter or constructor parameter names match are same, then to differentiate the class variables of the specific objects with the parameter variables names having the same names as a class name variables, okay, class variables, okay, to differentiate them, we can differentiate the class variables with the help of this keyword, okay. This keyword will refer to the current object, so they belong to the current class, current instance of the object of the class related variables you can mention, or methods also same thing, guys, okay. But mainly we use for distinguishing the variable names, okay. So I'll explain this, you'll understand, okay. First, let's start with this keyword refers to the object of the current class is something you have to understand first. But how we have to use this keyword in the real time? For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse ID and go to this object-oriented pack. And in this, I'll create another package. I'll just name this package as, package as 3, let's say. And inside the package, guys, I'm going to create a class. I'm just going to create a class, guys, okay? I'll just name this class as class P, okay? Class P, or some sample class, I'll say otherwise, sample one, okay, sample one, and click on finish. Once I create a sample one inside this class, right, inside this sample one class, inside this sample one class, okay, I'm going to inside this sample one class, okay, I'm going to create some variables, okay. When I create an object for this class, right, I have to initialize this instance variables. I'm going to create instance variables, means variables that refers to the object of the current class, okay. Current object of the class, okay, are the instance variables. I'm going to create some instance variables like, let's say string name is one instance variable, string location, int price, okay, like that, some sample instance variables I created under this class, guys. Now I'll create a method or constructor. You can create anything, guys, either a constructor. I'll start with a constructor. Constructor will have the same name as a class name and will not have the return type. Here void or return type will not be there, and this will be considered as a constructor. And inside this constructor, I'm going to give some parameters, guys, string with the same class variable names only I'll give. Here class variable names containing this instance variables of this particular class also have the same string and name. okay, comma, string location, then int price. Here, now, if I want to assign this parameters to this class variables, if I write something like this, name is equal to name, location is equal to location, this won't work out. Location is equal to location, price is equal to price. This won't work out, guys. Price is equal to price. This won't work out. Assigning the, okay, I'm just thinking that I'm assigning the parameters to the class variables because class variables and parameters have the same name. But here some warning messages are coming because this side, left side of is also a parameter only. Right side is also a parameter only. Okay, right side is a parameter, left side is also a parameter, right side is a same parameter. Okay, we are assigning the parameter to parameter, but we are not assigning this parameter values arguments received to these parameters. We are not assigning to the class variables. That's what is not happening. Then how to assign this values arguments that are received by these parameters variables to these class variables? For that, I have to identify the variables that are related to the current object of the current class. Okay, since this keyword can be used to refer to the current class object, I can use this dot name for the current instance or current object of the class. Okay, this name variable belongs to, whereas this name variable is a parameter. Okay, now you see name, this one parameter. To distinguish, to remove the ambiguity between the variables, class variables, when the class variables and when the class variables and parameter variable names have the same name, in that case, to differentiate the class variables from the class variables, that is instance class variables from the parameter names of a constructor or a method. Okay, to distinguish the class current the variables of the current instance of the class, to distinguish them, you have to use this keyword, guys, because this refers to the object of the current class. That is sample1 class related name, object of the current class related name. Okay, fine. The same thing applies for the method also, guys. Methods can have any name. Let's say method 1 I'll create, okay, some different name I'm giving a method 1. Here also assume that in the method also the same parameters are there, okay, which are having the same names as class variable names, instance variable names. In that case, to differentiate this class variable names from this method parameter names, okay. So this dot name is equal. I should not be saying name is equal to name. Okay, I have to say this dot name is equal to this dot location is equal to. This means the object of the current class. Okay, which will help us. This means you are simply using the object of the current class. This is nothing but reference of the object to the current class, guys. Okay, it's equal to location, and this dot price is equal to price. This is one of the main use case where this keyword is generally used in real time, guys, to differentiate the class variables from the method parameters or constructor parameters. We use this keyword here. Okay, and this means it refers to the object of the current class. Fine, all good so far. Okay, this one you have understood. One of the use case you have understood about this keyword. When a method parameter or a constructor parameter has the same name as an instance variable of the class, this keyword can be used to differentiate between the instance variable and the parameter. How? The variable that is provided with this keyword will become an instance variable and the parameter, because there is a name ambiguity is there, right? Name. Which one we are referring, we don't know. By default, in local, it will refer to the parameter, but if you have to convert that into a instance variable of the class, okay, we have to use this keyword because this refers to the object of the current class. Instance also means object, so it will be done. Fine. And apart from this, guys, apart from that, we can also use this keyword to access the current class members, guys. For example, here, guys, in this particular method, let's say here, somewhere here in this particular thing, let's say I'll create one more method, guys, public void, okay, access members demo, like that, some sample method I created to access the variables and methods of the current class. Okay, to access the variables and methods of the current class, I don't have to create the object, right? I don't have to create the object. Okay, so here I can simply say system.out.println this dot name I can write. So using this keyword that is a current object of the current class, I'm able to access the instance variable of this particular class. Similarly, I can call this method also, that is this dot sample1. This dot sample, sorry, this dot method one. This dot method one. This is a method, right? and I have to pass the values here. I have to pass the values here, name as okay. Arun Moturi, I have to pass location, Hyderabad, price of a car, let's say, okay, some 9 lakhs. Yeah, like that, so on. Okay, so on. Okay. So here, this keyword can be used. You can ignore this keyword also. It's not compulsory. It's not compulsory, guys. If you don't provide this keyword also, still you can access the instance variable and instance methods of the class. Okay. But if you use this keyword, right? If you use this keyword, okay, you can also use this keyword. That's what is the thing. Okay. You can also use this keyword to access the members of the same class. Members of the current class, if you want to access, you can specify this keyword. This is all about this keyword, guys. This is all about this keyword. And also this keyword can be used for another case where, constructor invocation. For example, here already we had one constructor, right? Public sample one is a constructor. I'll create one more constructor. That is, the constructors will not have the return type, and the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class, like this. Okay. Name of the class, circular brackets. And here, from this constructor, right? From this constructor, if you want to call this, sample one, here, I can pass Varun. I can call like this also, Varun, and comma, location is Delhi, and comma, price is, price of his car is, let's say, 8 lakhs. Like this, I'll give and put a semicolon. This is one way. Here you see, is this particular constructor able to call the constructor? No, right? So I have to write this keyword. Okay. So I have to write this keyword public sample one is the name of the constructor, and okay, sorry. I just made some confusion here. I should not be calling the constructor with its name, guys. Sorry. Okay, I was thinking that I'm calling a method. I forgot. Okay, this off. Simply directly write, instead of using this keyword, right? This with circular brackets you have to call. You don't have to give the name of the constructor, guys. This off, and here you pass Varun, comma, that is Delhi, right? Delhi, comma, this Varun Delhi, and the experience, some price is like, price of the car or something like 8 lakhs. Like this, you have to call the constructor, guys. This, when you create an object for the sample one, right? Automatically, the sample one constructor will be called, and this constructor will call another constructor here. Okay. This keyword can, from a constructor, right? For constructor invocation. Okay. This particular constructor can call another constructor. This constructor can call another constructor, guys. Okay. This constructor can call another constructor using this with circular brackets. This keyword can be used for this purpose, you see. And yeah, fine. So if I create an object for this class, right? If I create an object for this class, automatically this constructor will be called, and that constructor will call another constructor having the parameters, and variables will be initialized. Okay, variables will be initialized, etc. Okay, that's what will happen. Okay, fine. So this is another thing, guys. Okay, it can be used to invoke another constructor of the same class. Okay, this keyword can be used to invoke the constructor of another class. The way to use this you should not be using like this keyword, this dot. You should not be using this circular brackets. Inside circular brackets, the constructor you're calling has some parameters, right? You can pass some arguments here. Okay, you can pass the arguments. This of arguments. Okay, so simple words, guys. This refers to the object of the current class, and it can help us in doing all this kind of activities. Like, these are all the 3 activities: distinguishing the variable names, to access the current class members, that is variables and methods of the current class, to invoke another constructor from a constructor. Okay, so it can be used to invoke another constructor of the same class. Okay, these are the different ways of using this keyword, guys. These are the different ways of using this keyword. And coming to the reference, coming to the super keyword. Okay, coming to the super keyword. So here I'll simply write this, guys. Okay, so that this I'll put it here. I'll just drag it here, and here I'll write down. Okay, fine. So whereas the other keyword is super keyword, guys, super keyword, and it doesn't refer to the current class object. Okay, this keyword refers to the current class object, whereas super keyword refers to the parent class object. Okay, so I'll explain the super keyword now. let me explain the super keyword now. For that, I'll create one more package, guys. I'll just create one more package, 4 package, and under that I'll create two classes. I'll just name one of the classes class P. Click on finish, and inside the class P, I'm going to create some variables and methods like int a, comma int b, comma int a, comma int b. Some methods also. Public void sample a system.out.println inside sample a. Similarly, I'll write down, okay, one method is enough, guys. Okay, you don't have to go with multiple methods here. One method is more than enough. Okay, let me create one more class C. I'll make this class C a child class of the class P. I want to make this class C a child class of the class P. I'll use extends class P, I'll say. Extends class P, I'll say, and give the curly braces, and here I'll write down, I'll create some method, guys. Okay. I'll create the same method. I'll override this method. Let's say I'll override this method like, at the rate override. Okay. Here I'll write sample A in which class this is class P, whereas this inside sample A method of which class C here. Okay. But here class is a child class of the class C, class P. Hence it's this particular duplicate method which is created in the child class is nothing but the overridden. Okay. Overridden method. Now I'll create one method here, public void demo method. I'll say public void demo method, and from this particular demo method, guys, here I'll give int a is equal to 5, int b is equal to some 6, like this I gave. Now from this demo method, if I want to access the current class members, I can directly access like this, right? Sample A, I can say sample A I can access. Okay. Now sample A, if I create an object for this, right, you will understand what is going to happen. Let me create an object for this demo with main method. I'll create, and here I'll create an object for the child class. I'll create an object for the child class C is equal to new class CC. Okay, class C, and here using the object reference, if I call this particular method, guys, if I call this particular demo method here, if I run this code, you see we have created an object for the child class, and we are calling this particular method. This method is calling the sample A. Then sample A method of the parent class will be called, or sample A method of the child class will be called. Here, sample A method of the child class will be called. You see, inside sample A, class C will be printed here in the output console. Inside sample A, class C will be printed. What if I do some difference here? Instead of directly calling the method here, if I say super dot, in that case, when you mention super, right, super is the object of the parent class. Okay, the current class parent class is there, right? For that parent class, super is nothing but the object. Okay, object of the parent class dot sample A means what will happen in this case? In this case, when you call this demo method, it will not call the sample A method of the child class. Rather, using the object reference of the object of the parent class, since super is nothing but reference to the object of instance or object of the parent class. Okay, sample A method of the parent class will be called. This time you see that class P will be printed. Okay, you see class P inside sample A, class P got printed. That means parent class method got called. If I use this keyword here, in this case, this means object of the current class. Okay, so here this time child class method will be called. Class C will be printed. If you use super here, if you use this here, it will call current class. If you use super here, if I say super here, super dot sample A. Okay, now you can see that super will call the parent class method. Okay, not the current class method, because the super is a keyword which refers to the object of the parent class, whereas this keyword refers to the object of the current class. Hence, using that object the current class method or parent class method will be called accordingly. Fine. Similarly, if you have a constructor here, let's say there is a constructor, guys. Let's assume that there is a constructor, guys. Okay, public, the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class, that is class C. Okay, and circular brackets will be there here. Okay, here what I will do is here I'll say int A, otherwise int C I'll say. Okay, and I'll simply say system.out.println inside inside child class constructor, okay, inside child class constructor, I'll say. Now what will happen, guys, here, since one parameter is there, I'll give some value here, let's say 5, doesn't matter, okay, 5 will go here. I'm not utilizing this value here. The purpose of the C is not for this purpose anyhow. Here there's one more thing like int C, something is there, let's assume that int C is there, okay. I need to initialize this variable C. In the parent class, I need to initialize a value for this particular C, guys, but I've not initialized it. But what I'm trying to do, you try to follow, guys. If I try to run this code, right, it will create an object for the class C, and along with that, it will pass 5 here. 5 will not be utilized here. Instead, inside child class constructor will be called, okay. So I'll comment this out for a while, okay. So method will not be called, only constructor will be called. Inside child class constructor will be called. Inside child class constructor got called, okay. Inside child class constructor got called. That's all good. Now, what I'm going to do now is, inside child class constructor got called. What if what if here I'll say super, if this particular constructor has to call the current class constructor, if this particular class constructor has to call the current class constructor, for example here, if this particular class constructor has to call the constructor which is there in the same class, for example here class, let's say int x or something is there. No, I cannot give like that. This particular constructor need to be called, let's say system.out.println inside child inside empty constructor or something, I'd say inside 0 parameters constructor, something like that, okay. If I have to invoke the constructor of the same class, what is the keyword I have to use, guys? This circular bracket, that's it. You see this circular brackets, this will, when you create an object for this class, which constructor is getting called? Constructor having this single parameter as integer type will be called, and inside that constructor, using this circular brackets, this keyword, we are calling the current class constructor. Right? When I run this code, you will see that inside 0 parameterized constructor will be printed, and then inside child class constructor will be printed. That's good. So far, so good. Okay, this is one way. Other way is that, for example, here in the parent class, there is a constructor. Public, the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class here, and here write down int here I'll write down, guys, otherwise I'll write down here let's see whether it will work or not. Int yes, I'll say C is equal to yes, I'll say C is equal to yes, okay, like this I'll write. That's it, okay. This is the code I'm writing. So here now, guys, now the parent class has a constructor. From the child class, it will become mandatory, okay, to invoke it explicitly. How to invoke this particular parent class constructor here? I should not be using this keyword here, because the parent class constructor should be referred with the object of the parent class. Object of the current parent class is referred with the help of super keyword. So you just write super here and pass that value C here. That's it, guys. You see, instead of writing this here, this means it will invoke the current class constructor, okay. To invoke the parent class constructor from the child class, you have to use super keyword, okay. Here also constructor invoking is possible, but using the super, we are invoking the parent class constructor, okay. Now run this code and see that, in the parent class constructor, system.out.println, the value of C I'll print. System.out.println, the value of C I'll print, whatever the value that is assigned, right, that is passed from here, that 5 will be printed, okay. So run this code, right click, run as a Java application. First 5 will be printed. After that, inside child class constructor will be printed. You see, super has called this parent class constructor and printed 5. And after that, remaining statements got printed, guys. Okay. So this is how super will refer to the object of the parent class, whereas this will refer to the object of the current class. And these are the different type of operations you can perform with the help of constructor invocation you can do. And if you want to access the superclass members like methods and variables of the superclass, if you want to access, okay. If you want to access the, okay, if you want to access the members of the parent class, then what we can do here is, for example, here already an overridden method is there, right? So to access the members of the parent class, we have to use super keyword. Here, one more thing I can do. So system.out.println super dot. Already I'm accessing the method of the parent class, sample a method. Sample a method of the parent class I was accessing here. Instead of accessing the overridden method, if I write super, right, it will call the parent class method. But here I can also access the variables also. Dot a. You see, I can access the variable A, which is there in the parent class. Super is nothing but the object of the parent class, guys. Using that object of the parent class, okay, you can access the members of the parent class. It can be methods or it can be variables. Anything can be accessed with the help of super. Okay, that's also I covered here. So super can be used to call methods or access variables that are overridden or hidden by the subclass. Whatever it may be, guys, what type of the things it may be, all the variables and methods of the parent class can be accessed here. Okay, fine. Now, what's the next thing, guys? What's the next thing? This is all I wanted to demonstrate here in this session. I just want to give these examples to showcase that, to prove you that this refers to the object of the current class, whereas super refers to the object of the parent class. Okay, with practical theoretical explanation and practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye.